So we finally just arrived at the island after two buses, a ferry and a boat. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Cece. Please make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell notification. Guys, it's 5 a.m. in Banjul, and I got up really early so I can get ready to go to the Kunta Kinte Island. As you can see, still a bit dark, and I'm just going to go to the pick-up point, and then hopefully I can get some breakfast. Well, they're providing all the food and everything, so it's all inclusive, so I don't know what they're going to be serving, but I've got my hat as well because I know it's going to be very hot, and I've got my scarf because the temperature is actually 19 degrees right now, which feels a lot cooler than the 35 degrees that it's been in the day. But let me show you, this is my outfit, and I am ready for the Kunta Kinte Island. Kunta Kinte Island, also known as James Island, is nested in the heart of the Gambia River. This very place, once called Juffureh, was where Kunta Kinte, the Mandinka teenager whose life inspired Alex Haley's roots, grew up in the 18th century. In 1767, at just 17 years old, Kunta Kinte was captured by slave raiders and forced into a European ship and carried across the Atlantic into the plantations of America. Before that fateful journey, James Island and nearby Alberta Island were major hubs of the transatlantic slave trade. Enslaved Africans were held in cramped cells that with their fate sealed by European traders and some complicit local chiefs. The Gambia's role in this tragic history is profound. Thousands of captives were funneled through these islands, their lives forever torn from home. Today, as we meet the village chief, a woman leader preserving centuries of the Mandinka heritage, and speak with the 18th generation descendants of Kunta Kinte, we honor the resilience of those who survived. We will explore the Slave Museum in Juffureh, where artifacts and oral histories keep alive the memories of those stolen from these shores. Standing on the shores of the Kunta Kinte Island, I reflect on the legacy of slavery, the unimaginable suffering, the courage of freedom seekers, and the enduring spirit of the Gambian people who continue to tell their stories. Let's walk through this living monument to remember, to learn, to ensure never again.
Where we shall be joining the ferry. And with the ferry, there is no scheduled time. You're lucky it's there, it's gone, it's coming. And that's where the experience starts, okay? By the way, it's only one ferry doing this service now. And then if it is on the other side, then it means we have to wait a while. But it's always good this time of the day to catch the ferry at some point without long waiting. So on the map, a tiny country is Kunta Kinte, who comes from Juffureh. Juffureh is a village on the north bank of the river Gambia, as the river divides the country into two halves. The area where we are is called the south bank, and after crossing with the ferry to the other side, that's the north bank. So the south bank holds almost everything, the hotels, the few industries we have, and the riches. The north bank is much more poverty, okay? There you have farmers living there. So this history is very emotional and touching, but nothing personal. So prior to the arrival of the Arabs and the Europeans, we had what we call the oral history. Oral history is through narration. So that's one of the reasons why you might be hearing things that you have not read in the books. All that is written in the books is written not directly by Gambians, but these are written by Europeans that have been here. The people that write deep in their pocket. Okay. So here we have the Tantin Bridge that joins the mainland to Banjul. Now on the right hand side you have the
we've just got off the bus now and we are going to get the ferry. I've got my scarf because I'm feeling a bit cold. So we've just come to wait for the ferry. Apparently you just have to sit and wait for it, so we're not sure how long it's going to take. There's one that goes across and one that comes over. So in the meantime I decided to get a coffee. Let me taste some Gambian coffee. But anyway, it's my first time, it's going to be my first time on the ferry. Apparently all the cars have to go in first and then we also have to go in, so it's going to be quite an interesting experience. And the coffee was actually 50 dalasi, which is about just under a pound or less than a pound, maybe 50p, could be 50p, I'm not sure. But anyway, let's have a taste of some Gambian coffee. We're still waiting for the ferry. Apparently sometimes it can take an hour for it to come back, so we are all just waiting. There's quite a lot of people and a lot of cars. Still having my my coffee. Oh, black coffee. So tell us about this Attaya, the green tea.
Yeah, the Attaya is a Chinese green tea. It's mostly commonly used in Gambia, Senegal, Mauritania and Niger. Yeah, Attaya can bring people together. And we also believe that, for example, when you are alone, when you start cooking it, doing it, you see people start coming.
Wow.
Understand? And also we do it in three sets, I can tell you. For example, the first one, we call it the first. It's very strong.
Yeah.
And we brew it the second time. That one is the second. And we have the third one. That one is very, very light. And also, like for example, if you drink it in the night, it's just like coffee.
Yeah.
You cannot sleep.
Wow.
It's a very, very strong tea.
Do you grow it in the Gambia?
No, it's from China.
Okay.
And you cannot drink it without sugar. You know, you can drink coffee without sugar, but this one you cannot drink it without sugar. It's a very, very strong one. It's very, very common here. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you. So another thing, I just wanted to find out about the tribes in the Gambia. Can you just tell us a little bit about the tribes?
Yeah, we have different tribes. Like for example, I'm from the Fulani tribe. We have the Mandinka, the Wolof, the Serere. All these tribes, they come from different parts of Africa.
Yeah.
Like for example, the Wolof, they are from the north of Senegal. You have the Mandinkas, they are from Mali. The Fulani, you can have them everywhere. Like for example, Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria, because they always roam around.
Yeah.
You understand? Also, we also have another tribe called the Manjago. They are from Portuguese Guinea.
Yeah.
You understand? So we have the Sarapule also. They are some are from Mali, some are from Mauritania.
Yeah.
But get very well within
That's
ourselves.
amazing. Yeah.
So we intermarry. You understand?
So you can intermarry different tribes.
Yeah. You can intermarry with different
Yeah.
tribes. Like for example, my mother is from Serahule tribe. No, sorry, Sere tribe.
Yeah.
My father is Fulani.
Yeah.
You understand? So I have other relatives also in other tribes because of intermarriage.
Amazing. Thank you. The ferry is finally here. Guys, we're just about to go on the ferry. There's quite a lot of people. Hopefully there isn't going to be a lot of pushing. I'm holding my bag close. So apparently we're going upstairs. Just got on. All the cars are down here. And there's a few people standing as well at the bottom. But all the cars are just coming in.
At the small fish market, it's the same. In a sense, we have the sun every day. It could have been done with solar power. Okay. But it looks very interesting. Also offer service like and over there we have Fort Bullet. Yeah, it's an anti-slave port that was built in 1826 after the abolition of the slavery and the slave trade. They are trying to build a private jetty for a landing site for another private ferry crossing. It's a Turkish company, private company. And the wall there, the high wall is a fortress. It's called Fort Bullet. It was built in 1826. It's anti-slave fortress where after the abolition of the slavery and the slave trade, there was illegal trade going on. So the British sent a 6-ton country on the south bank, which was never enough to seal them out of the river Gambia. So this one was also built there from both sides of the river. They were able to seal them out of the river Gambia, in and out. And ships that were engaged with slaves on board were taken here and the slaves were set free. Also, it's a kind of defense for the British. So in case the French tried to take Gambia from the north, so they had a military garrison there. Okay, it's called Fort Bullet. And we're almost to Barra now, the northwest.
Getting off the ferry actually took about 20 minutes. It was faster than I thought it was going to be, which is good. So we've just got off the ferry and there's a little market going on here. It's quite busy, very, very busy. Oh, there's our bus over there, across the road. So we're just going to go and get our bus, and I think we'll go straight to the island, if I'm not mistaken. It's starting to get a bit warm. I think it's going to be 35 degrees today.
There's some treatment in this town here, SL. There is a major health center cannot be sold there. You have to hike 108 kilometers, go to the next mango trees. And if you love mangoes, that's definitely a reason to come back. As they started flowering now, you see, and in about 4 months time, 5 months time. Pay a courtesy call on the chief of the village, the woman. From there to the Kinte family, the compound where Kunta Kinte came from, and then back here, then to the slave museum, visit the slave museum. From the slave museum, we go to the monument site, where we have the old cannon and the freedom pole. After that, then we are joining the boat from the bank to the island, 3.7 kilometers. Visit the island. After the visit on the island, we come back and then we go for lunch.
Okay. To the village of Roots, which is known as a village of Juffureh, the birthplace of Kunta Kinte, where he was born in the year 1750. The moment right now where we are, close it up. Right now where we are, you see the lady walking behind me. Maybe you didn't know the title of this lady. Why we are here. This is a very important tour we are doing today. Of course, when you come to a Gambia small village like this or mini village, the first thing you have to do is to pay a courtesy call to the chief. When we say chief, locally, actually, these people are very, very powerful than the presidents. She has a right to send us back to where you come from. Believe me. In those days, when Africa used to live in empires like we were divided into 3 fractions, Mali Empire, Ghana Empire, Songa Empire. These are the people which are known to us as our traditional rulers. They are the kings. They have the voice and the saying. Traditionally, if you want to settle in the community or in the village, without the notice of these people, it's never possible. If the president of the country is to hold a meeting here or in this region, if they don't inform her, it will never work. She have to be informed, and she have 5 councillors members. She work hand to hand with them, and she will send them to every house. This is what we call a compound. If you like a land to settle here, what they do traditionally, she will give you a rope in those days and tell you, put a stone on it and tie it. Throw it wherever it stopped. That's where the demarcation of your land is. This is how they acquire land. You don't buy, you just only present colonels. So if you're paying tax to every house, like every year, he will send his people from every household, and this is how you pay tax. He'll say, oh, this compound is 500, depending how many houses inside and how many roofs with corrugate irons or elephant grasses you pay through that percentage. That money will be collected, goes through her hand, and the money will be again sent to the central government and directly to the president office. So a quarter of the money or half of the money will be returned back to the village, and there will be maintenance like boat pipe, tap, waters and other things. This is what they are always. So kids are trying to be disciplined when they are young. If you want to get a position of her, like to be a chief in tomorrow, they look at you through your character. They go through your performance, what you are doing and who you are, and what you used to say to the elders, and how you talk to, how you interact with the elders. In the Gambia, in a small mini village like Juffureh, like this, Al-Sama means Assalamu alaikum. He's welcoming all of you. He said morning to all of you. That's what he said. And like a compound like this, what we do, we eat like together. When it's time for lunch, like 2 o'clock, they will call all the kids, maybe 10, 15 kids will share the same dish together. It's not like where you're coming from, you kill a chicken, whereby one person can eat a chicken or whatsoever. No, when you kill one chicken, the whole family has to join it. That's it. You eat 2 meals a day and a breakfast. That's it. So that's what we used to do. Her name is Attaya. In Gambia, mini village like this, 95% of people here are Muslim, 5% are Christian. But it's not forbidden or it's not a foul word to ask age of them like that. How old are you? Even you can ask her, how old are you? The only thing they don't like, don't ask me, are you a Christian or a Muslim? We feel we are shame people, you see. So that's not a problem.
Yeah, we are photo to Kana Hotel. I will not hotel to come. Ferry Kana for you. For Kunta. I do not been told them. Panambala Dandile. Gambia Canola Sambana. Nina to young Kaira. Nina Wato Banta. I am Rundo Kaira. Angal.
Very
Again.
powerful words because the love you have and the feeling and the people you love in the Gambia, you like us, you know. That's what used to bring you here on holiday, getting the sun bath and seeing the beautiful smiling coast of Gambia. You fly in your various countries in peace. You landed in the Gambia airport in peace. Enjoy your holiday. When your holiday finishes, you take your flight back and then go back safe and meet your family in peace in your various country and come back again and again into the Gambia. It's praying for you. In our midst here is the direct 8th generation blood of Kunta Kinte, believe me. When the African American Alex Selly was here 1967 to test out his roots, Alex Selly met the mother of this lady who's known as Kunta Kinte. Is the one you see in the city when you watch this movie. Kunta Kinte was the 7th generation. When Kunta Kinte died, she replaced her mother as the 8th generation. This family will never die, finish. It is like a legacy. They will be replacing each other on the throne like the queen. Kunta was just unfortunately sent out of this compound one day to look for dry branches of wood in the jungle. This is where he come across with these Portuguese people. And that's where the fight began. They captured this young man when he was the age of 20, but Kunta didn't marry here. Surround and you look. You see? This is the real pictures when Alex Selly first came here and he took with the mother. Alex Selly brought this man, Libert Broughton, because then even Western people cannot create cameras. Cameras were not invented. They could not have a real picture of Kunta Kinte. They brought this man from America to act on behalf of Kunta Kinte. This is where the film started and to the island, and the rest of the film was done in America to make it interesting.
Building an airfield nearby.
Maybe you are surprised to see this. You see in the village, that's why when kids like this, I always tell them, don't think, of course we are born maybe in a country like maybe it's different from your country. Maybe they think we are not rich here. Of course, even we are poor, I always tell them we are rich. To me, when I remember when we were young, they used to tell me if you go to European countries, to the West, you will be very rich. You are born in a wrong country. I did not understand that feeling when I grow up and I am matured now. I understand I'm not poor. I am very rich because I am born in a country which I have a big health of sun, seeing this every day. And my skin is good and my health is my wealth. I get fresh food on my own. I can just jump up and cut one of these fruits like orange and I eat. I can cut banana, fresh one, not frozen food like where you coming from. And you don't buy this. You can cut like, even I don't know, I can just feel hungry or I feel to eat an orange and then I can cut grapefruit and then I eat. Nobody will tell me. So these are oranges, you know. You are asking, these are called oranges, but we call them grapefruit. You eat them, you peel them, and then you mix them with like pig milk, you know, a tin of a milk, and then you put it in a cup and mix it, and then you get a nice juice out of it. It's nice. You know, mangoes are available. In April, you come here, you can eat any type of mangoes. These are the biggest jur. We call them jur. They are the big, brightest mango we have in the Gambia. It's just like this one. You can't finish it.
Wow.
We call it jur. So you don't
I love
even
mangoes.
sell them. Like you won't go to if in Banjul where you're coming from in the hotel, you can go and buy them. But in the place, you will not happy to go to the market and see people selling mango. How can you do that? I have 10 in my house, in my compound. You have 50, you have 20. You will sell it to me. You know, they will just waste. You just jump and cut a good one and eat, and then finish with it. So this is it. It will all rule by like one elderly person. Like we'll all call him father. If you wake up from your house, you come, you must greet her, dad, and then she will pray for you before you go out. You can't go out of your house, you don't greet your father or mom. It's never possible. So she will be like the compound head. So like I go out of work, my brother go out, my sister go out. At the end of the month, if I bring rice, you have to bring fish money. He brings something for her pocket, his pocket or whatsoever, you know. So he will be just like a leader in the compound, and he will have the voice. You know, this is how we call a compound. So Africa is nice. Few are just in the toilet.
Beautiful but sad picture, right?
Yeah.
It is in Penachin there.
Yeah, oh, Benetton. Benetton is very nice, huh?
Yeah. Gambian rice, but this one I'll take home.
Guys, some green oranges.
Okay, are we all here now? Please, can I have welcome to all of you. Now here, this is where actually we have to be very personal and talk the truth. When I'm doing this talk, sometimes what I love to tell people, let us not take this as personal. We have to talk the truth. Because if you look, of course, sometimes well before even coming of the Europeans, to be honest, in Africa, of course, there was a time, you all know about that Africa, we used to live in empires. These empires in Africa, we have our own various kings which are heading these empires. And these are the colonial masters. Especially Mali Empire, which is headed by Musa Mansa Maulo, and all those other empires headed by Sunjata Keita and others. There was a time when Africans, we do feel like if a tribe is feeling this, you are better than this other tribe. Of course, you fight this tribe. And those people captured are called the prisoners of war at the end of the day. So they use them as a slave within ourselves. But it depends if you are loyal, honest to your master at that time. I mean, you could even marry within that particular family. So we have what we know as domestic slave in Africa, well before coming of the Europeans. Some of our kings, in fact, were involved into this business, slavery. But why I never say Atlantic slave trade is Atlantic human trafficking, because Africans were people who were enslaved. We are not born in slavery, and we don't want to be. We were forced into it. That's why I say we were enslaved. And this was happening when at time the world was infancy. Human labor was needed. There was no school, no building, no hospital. America as a new world was discovered, 1492. But please, let us stop saying Columbus discovered America. You can't discover land where there are people already. That's never possible. 180 years before Columbus got to America. So we can't discover America for our own black people. It's our black people who are in America. It's unfortunate the hot climate, they couldn't walk and comply with that in their skin. Those rates in there. This is why Portuguese people were the first European nationality to be sent as missionaries in Africa. And they enslaved us. In what way? They brainwashed us. with the Africans, telling us, we are bringing you Christianity to be the first religion to be introduced. This is why Christianity came before Islamic. The first Catholic church built here was called San Domingo Church. It was built in this community. The church is just behind the village here, called San Domingo Church. So when they built that church, concept of people we got here, these are people coming to introduce Christianity. In Senegal, we are one country, we were called Gambia River. We were split by the French people. This is why Gambia becomes smaller inside Senegal 3 times, because they were looking for colonization. Berlin Conference was held in Germany, and they divided us from Senegal. French in 1681, they held the island on a war. There were constant exchange of fire war on that island. It's the best strategy location point. You can keep your slaves without their escape. They knew we black, we cannot swim. We don't have weapons like they have. The only thing, when they leave the island, they come here, they captured you, they took you. Your people can only stand on the shore, cry and wave and bring back our people. There's no method they can do.
That's the green orange, guys.
The woman gave it to me. Every time she gives me something.
It's actually quite sweet. It tastes like the oranges.
Yeah,
I do like it. I like it. So just going into the museum now.
Andrew Island, Kunta Kinte Island, you can call it today. This island was the major island in the River Gambia, and we did have a very interesting island which is called Dog Island before Banjul. This Dog Island was the first island where these Europeans first landed, but they were fed up on the island and disturbed by the chimpanzees or baboons barking like dogs. This is why they did call it Dog Island. And they abandoned that island. They said 18 miles where they come to settle on that island there. So when they settled on that island, during that time, this island was 4 times, my brothers and sisters, bigger than the size you are seeing today. Wow. So Europeans were using that island as a major sources of place whereby they use their small dinghy boat on that island, come into the villages and hide their boats, and they will go into the village, capture slaves and bring them, transport them 2 by 2 through that San Domingo church point. Because it's Minnesota, the church is just behind there. So they transport them to the island. Every slave has to spend only majorly 2 weeks on the island. That's where physically they break your mind. Brand you, change your name there, and then put them on ships and take them across to Juffureh Island in Senegal. From there, they make a transit point of crossing the Middle Passage, that's the Atlantic. So ships has to come empty. So all this colonial power were exchanging power of controlling that particular area because no one can swim to attack them. This is why when you start from the ferry point traveling with your coach, it's only this village you can see exactly settled on the banks of the river like this. Because people were running out because that island was full of Europeans. So some big Gambian mini village are hiding almost 20 kilometers inside the forest. Just because they're hiding, not Europeans seeing them. This is why this village, if you look in the Gambia, comparing to a Gambia village, this is a big population to us, a village with 1,400 people. But if you look, when slavery was stopped, how many people were spotted out of this village? It's almost 100,000 where only people left out of that 1,400 people. It is one of the poorest villages in the Gambia, you can see. That hollow, you knock the tree like that, it will sound like a drum. When you lost at that time in the jungle, if they want to find you out, they will beat the hollow of this tree. They sound like a drum. This is why we call it a silk cotton tree. They drop some light cottons when they open the flower. You cannot make them for clothes, but you can fill them in boxes and we use it for pillows. And we call it a silk cotton tree. So ladies and gents, let's go closer to the statue and
Never again, but unfortunately it's still happening. How and where, we will get that when we get to the island. We have the modern day slavery going on in pockets of the world. We'll tell you where and how.
That's the last craft market we are seeing now for the day. When we come back from the island, if you want to pick something out of the craft market, you're welcome.
Gambia price.
Gambia price.
Yeah.
Buy one, get one for free.
River Gambia still, and the area is still salt water. Now from Banjul, 94 kilometers, the river upwards is salt water. And the river stretches over navigable. From Banjul, you could go close to 200 kilometers, the river upwards. And James Island is very strategic. In a sense, it's right. People think, well, it's not an area where humans can live. There are devils. Until the Portuguese arrived and moved there, and it's pretty much significant, important in our history, simply because many bad things happened there in terms of slavery and the slave trade. The size of the island is getting smaller due to erosion, due to global warming. It's affecting also the island, but still we do have important sites there to show you. Okay. Point, there is a tribe that used to live here. We call the Syrian tribe. They were enemies during those times, and because the griots, which are the musicians, they don't do farming. They only depend on their music. When they die, they believe if they bury them in the ground, the gods will get upset and they will not get enough rainfall. What do? They bury the corpse of these dead people in the baobab caves, because at some point when the baobab grows to up to certain age, they have a big hole inside. And you could see this in the northern part of Senegal, very close to Dakar, where you have a baobab cemetery. But this practice has been banned since 1960. Now that because of religion, most people are either Catholic, Anglican, Methodist, or Muslim. People have different beliefs. But prior to the arrival of the Arabs and the missionaries in Africa, most of our ancestors were enemies. They believe in the nature. That's why still now, although we are Muslims or Catholics or this, we do carry along part of our inheritance from the forefathers and join it with the religion. Okay? And when we talk of religion as well, people are skeptics at some point, because during slavery and the slave trade, religion also played a part in slavery, being it Islam, being it Christianity. Names were changed. When you name Bakari or Alaji, they said, okay, Peter, Paul, Simon, and things like that. So missionaries also have taken slaves out of Africa. The church played a very important role as well in the slavery and the slave trade. Likewise, insurance companies, likewise banks, they all played a part in the slavery and the slave trade. What really happened is that the slave traders, when they came, communities were attacked. Okay? And because Africa, we have different tribes, ethnic groups. Now, ethnicity became very important in the society during those times, because each tribe believed my tribe is the best tribe. What they did exactly was, they go to a particular tribe, they'll give them weapons to attack another tribe. Not only that, families were set free and we are given weapons. We never take you and your family as a slave, but then you have to bring us slaves. They were conditioned. And then, even if you are not part of the slavery, they will tell you to condone it, or else you will be vulnerable to attacks. And this is how they were able to acquire more slaves. The Portuguese at some point were taking children out of the continent, 7, 9 years of age, taking to Portugal, simply because they understand the African language. Now these were children that were coming from women that were sexually harassed, that got pregnant during the trade, that have kids. And these kids, because they can speak the local or one of the local languages, were taken to Portugal. They were being used as tools back in the community as middlemen, and they were forced to be go between the local people and then the slave traders. Women suffered a lot. Women that already have kids, they think, well, they have 3, 4 kids, they might not be important. They were important as well. They use them as baby factories, simply because during those times we have people who were giants. They were much bigger than my brother, taller and lanky. They make them to sleep with them with the belief that they will get children of the same size so they can sell them at a better price. This happened not only here but also in Juffureh Island. At some point, they lose many people. Why? Because the slaves were locked and kept in the most horrible condition. They lose many people until they have to make better the conditions, feed them with beans, palm oil, because the slave that you are selling must bring some amount of kilos on the scale. If you have a skinny slave like me, you don't get a good price. You need a tall, lanky, physically fit. And then at some point also, what happened? During the voyage, these people never accepted that they were captured. They want to fight for their freedom by any means necessary. That's why on the boats, there were a lot of revolt on the boats. People in chains, but they fight for their freedom. And what happened is the revolts were crossed with a heavy hand. People were maltreated. A leg will be amputated. You will be left on deck, bleeding to death. And this should be a very good example for those who might have an idea or believe to start another revolt like that. It was crossed with a heavy hand. While they are also cruising, when the sea becomes rough, they try to regulate the balance of the boat by throwing overboard people so that they will have an easy cruise. So that's why we say the bottom of the Atlantic or the seas are filled with a lot of African skeletons on poor bones. We don't hate. What we say is people who did this never have the feeling for the other race as they feeling they have for themselves. And that's where the name Negro came from. Negro is a name so that you can enslave somebody that you believe is a lesser human being than you. And that's where the name comes in, Negro. Because you look on the other person as a lesser human being so that you can treat him as bad as possible, so that you can enslave him. What is enslavement? That is, you have no right. You have no right. You have no choice. People were made to live and to work on plantations at any time. Some point they even provide them with kind of neck laces, or what I call it, so that after a hard work you cannot even have a nap. Some were even provided with what we call a mouth mask, so that on the sugar plantations you dare not chew any sugar cane or even eat. They were not even allowed to marry at the initial stage. So these people were not seen as a fellow human beings. But on the east coast of Africa, more than 10 million Africans were taken by the Arabs through what we call the trans-Saharan slave trade. And they came with the spread of Islam. That's why I said at some point both religions played a role in the slavery and the slave trade. Now the Portuguese also came as missionaries with the spread of Christianity. Churches were built. People were made to believe in God. And then what do they say? Obey your master, obey the master. So that's why forefathers were kind of skeptics when you talk of religion. What kind of religion are you teaching me when you are taking my child, when you are taking my brother, when you are taking my wife as a slave? That you think you are better than me because of the color. Color doesn't matter. What we believe in is that we are all created equal. A human being is a human being. It depends the way you are brought up, how you were brought up, and where. When we were all born, you smile to everybody as a child, as a baby. You smile to everyone. You don't know color. Where those hatreds come from? It comes on how you were brought up and where. And ladies and gentlemen, this is something that we all have a role to play in this world to make sure that love is spread, that we can live together as one human race. There is no two human race. What is happening in the world now? Jews fighting Muslims, Muslims fighting Jews, and the other things. We're talking of racism. What is that? And we now have modern day slavery as close to our doors as Mauritania, where black are working for the white Mauritanians. Not only that, But people are taken from the continent to the Arab world, Qatar, Kuwait. They are promised of a very, very lucrative job. Once you arrive, your passport is taken. I've come across a girl who's been traumatized. Why? Because he was taken to an Arab country in Qatar, where the passport was taken away. You have to walk like a donkey. You have no right. He was sexually treated, and then when she came back, she was traumatized.
So we finally just arrived at the island after a ferry, after two buses, a ferry and a boat.
Island here, like Ibrahim and my brother was mentioning on board, we did actually have to understand these Europeans when they newly came, like I did say at the museum. There's a beautiful island here which is called Dog Island. This is where these Europeans first landed. But unfortunately, that island, it is actually very close to one of the village in the Nyomi region here, which is the North Bank. So local people easily access on that island with a boat. Or locally, they walk with their feet to go to that island there. But this one here in the middle of the river, you cannot access it unless you don't use an engine boat like that. And at that time, understand, technology was not developed. All what the local people could do, and even this European, is to chop a big tree like this and make a small hollow in it and flat the bottom part. They use it as a small fishing boat. This is what even the Europeans were using. This is why all these European for colonial power were fighting and hungry of this particular island who will capture it, because it's 3 kilometers from where we're taking the boat to here. So all the reason what happened, slaves were majorly brought here, is only thing is to reduce their weight and give them a less power. This is why physically they tortured them here 2 weeks officially, and you have to live on this island. Every month, if you read this book, they will just Europeans only, with 20 artists and 32. It's a global warming. There are some buildings on the islands here. They are just sitting in the water. They are not totally disappeared. Trees you've seen on the island are mainly called baobabs. They are not the original trees in the Gambia here. These baobabs are brought by the Europeans into this country. Baobabs are from a country called Madagascar. They brought them into this continent here. Baobabs can survive for centuries. They are flesh and storage of water. When you break the fruits you see in there, it's white and fluffy inside. These are the fruit they will soak in the bottle or in a cup and mix it with a small salt and sugar. When you eat poisonous food, you drink it, it's clear all the remedies. This is why baobab juice is important. This is what they used to give to the slave to feed them on the island. But thank God this island today, you can see they call it Kunta Kinte Island. Michael Jackson brother, America family, the family of Michael Jackson, visited, and they have this vision all the way from America and this idea to change the name of this island to be called Kunta Kinte Island. On the 6th of February 2011, the island took the new name to be called Kunta Kinte Island. So I forgot to tell you that when we come outside, we will go around them and I will show you how they harvest oysters. Everybody had to get a small axe. So these stones are full of oysters. The more the high tide is coming, and stayed for another 6 hours, the more they grow with oysters. And they are bigger than the ones on the mangrove swamps because it took them like 3 months. No one come to the island to harvest it. So they will go and boil them and take out the meat. The cells of oysters are very important in the village here. These are the cells, the white cell. They will wait for 3 months dry, and they will find a big drum for woods, the branches of wood. They put them in the middle and surround them with fire, and then they burn them for 2 weeks. It will be torn and be white ashes. These are the lime we use and soak with the salt water. We paint our houses with brushes. The island, in fact, the fort you've seen, it is not built by the cement. It is built by the oyster cells. They will be pounding, and then they use them in a small crack. They use the salt water to build and plaster the fort. So we go inside and see. Yeah. Yes?
Can I close the door?
Please, don't close the door. Don't close the door. This is a very sad place actually. Sometimes when I'm here actually, I get very like hard crack actually. I can't understand if dogs or animals could not be treated in this movement actually. Believe me or not, this is where 20 humans will be stuffed inside. 20 people, they will stand on their feet like that around the wall for 2 good weeks, you could believe, and this is where you do toilet and everything. You will only get your food or your feeding through this window. Yes, Europeans will stand outside drinking their alcohol, smoking. They will just throw food and flash it on some people like that. The young ones will easily die, believe me. It's a time when a mother will even give birth to the island here. You turn around, you don't see a European or, you kill your own baby to be dead than to be taken as a slave. You could imagine how small is this cell. This is where the big chain you've seen in the museum, I think you've seen all that chain, is been pinned out of this place. This is where Kunta Kinte Island was. You see, things you've seen in the museum are not replica, they are originally picked from this island. Believe me. Watch your step. Go. I'm coming for you. You sure? Ito lang mo ba kapara? What? Ito na tama. Yard used to be, when you say the slave yard, it's where they bring all the slaves out from their castles and their prisons. So the original directly bridge built on this island since 1456 to 1661 to 1681, 1672 to 1708. The original bridge was built there. This is 18 meters deep in the river there. This is where all the big vessels and ships are coming. All these ships are going into that anchor. Slaves has to be come out here. They're waiting for like door of no return. They never come back here again. This is where they will bring them, circle them where this circle is. And they will undress them naked like that. This is where everybody will get your brand. Out. Because the Europeans are running from the hot climate. So they cover their part. That's why you can see some holes there. So this was the office of the councillor on the island here. This is where this councillor will register every new slave coming, 88 slaves onto this island every month. Will get your registration and your name here. That African name will be written on you, they will know, but when you live in the island, they give you a European name to confuse you and change your name. Hardly you can see yourself as an African unless you do DNA blood tests. This is what brings DNA blood tests now. Island, this island to be called Andrew Island, 1456. After the death of Andrew, this is where Andrew was buried. That's the cemetery of Andrew. 1456. Andrew was suffered by malaria in Africa. and he died. They feel they are the first colonial Portuguese people to hold this island, and they named the island Andrew Island. When the English people took the island 1661, they feel that is not the correct name. They feel to call it King James II. Fire bricks like that right one are not found in the Gambia. English brought them. These are from Liverpool and Bristol. When they come into Africa, they put them on the side of the ship to balance themselves to come to cross the water. So this was the gunpowder house of the island, and this is the store of the island, where all the foods and the weapons of the island came from. Now, when they get attacked from any other nationality, quickly they will just come here, open the sentry room and take their weapons. A gunpowder magazine explode here, unfortunately, because the hot climate. That's what bring all this damage and blow up the roof. That was done accidentally. I bet my life, believe me, if you want to know I'm good in history, you go back, those who come from England, visit the Liverpool Museum, you will see this history. It killed 11 white English soldiers instant here on this explosion. And that record is taken to Liverpool Museum in England. And they kept it there. That's what damaged all these walls. And the island, since then, it was not being rebuilt. Because the island lasts with the English up to 1816. Up on the tower here. You looking, this is facing from Banjul, where you coming from this morning. That is where you pick the ferry. Where they put this cannon on top here, it's all about to see if any boat is coming towards the island, maybe they could be their enemies. So what all you could do with the English people could put a gunpowder here and load it with a cannonballs and fire this cannon, which is 750 meters into the water, to attack the enemies of the island. And this was used by them. It was a lighthouse. This is not the original lighthouse that they were using. It was a wooden one before. So on this boat, this is where we finally close and conclude our speech. If you look, you will see the whole plan of the island, how the island used to be 4 times bigger. And you will see the missing parts and the parts we visited on the island here. All the small portion left on the island here. On this island, you can see that was the time when the English people feel they last with the island and they put their flag here. And they left the island 1860, where they captured Banjul, and Banjul was called Batos before. We were being ruled by the British governor called Sergeant Paul in the Gambia here. And after Sergeant Paul, we were ruled by Sergeant Harry. They are still British governor before we were independent by the British up to 1965, when they feel to give us independent. And this is the time, 18th of February 1965, we took our independence from them. And
yeah. I hope you're recording. Because I've had... it's fine. No, it's fine.
I thought I'm disturbing. Maybe you don't like it.
The Queen will enjoy this.
Oh, are we swimming?
No, we're not.
I'm a good swimmer, so...
Okay. We're just free from the island of Kunta Kinte.
I can swim and take to all of you one by one.
Really? Really? Then you can save people in the water.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can swim and dive and save people in the water. So here is a sister who visit the island of Kunta Kinte. I'm happy she can swim. She can save one of us one by one.
Exactly.
So you're here today with me, and how do you see your adventure today?
Absolutely amazing.
Amazing. You've been dreaming about this store for how long?
Well, years.
Today, finally, African ancestor, you are here today to see where your roots come from.
Exactly.
I believe
called?
It's in the nature. Upcast. You can
Okay.
go on Google. Upcast. It's lovely.
I'll
It's
get some details from you.
1.5.
Guys, so we've just come from the island and we are having our lunch, which is the last bit of our trip, and then we are going to head back. So this is what I'm having. There's a little buffet just over there. Watermelon with some lime, and it's so sweet, absolutely amazing. But then, you know, after every meal I always have my green tea, so I've bought my tea bags. Although I did love the green tea that I had here. I can't remember the name of it. What was it called? Attaya. Attaya? It was so nice. But I'm just having my green tea, of course. It doesn't matter where I am in the world. Even if I'm in sunny, hot Africa, I need to have my cup of tea. So I'm just having my green tea after my meal, and it was absolutely amazing. Cheers, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give this video a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell notification. And please leave a comment for me. You know I love reading your comments. So please leave a comment for me, and see you in the next one.